All right, Shalom. First and foremost, we give all praises
to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai.
All right, to the 12 tribes scattered abroad, greetings. This lesson is for you. You're the Hebrew Israelites if you come from so-called Negro, Hispanic, or Native American background on your father's side. No matter how many generations it takes. All right, you're once an Israelite, always an Israelite, regardless of how you look. That being said, we're gonna go right into it, man. Let's go Revelation 9 because the breakdown came out. Revelation 9 is not talking about World War I or Kaiser Wilhelm, and we're gonna go into it because we see that finally somebody's speaking up. Finally, somebody's saying that they think they know how to interpret it, and we're wrong. So if we're wrong, let's understand. Let's understand something.
All right, Revelation chapter 9 and 1. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit.
Right, okay, a fifth angel sounded, and the star fell from heaven unto earth, having the key of the bottomless pit. Is that the end of it? Yep, that's it. Okay, now let's deal with verse 1. Let's deal with verse 1. The star that fell from heaven. So now you got this guy from Men of Valor. He made a response video and he said that the star is talking about the stars as in the bureaucracy or the elite, okay, falling. And he said how do you fall, right? Now 3 points he made. He said the star fell from heaven, and he quoted Luke about Satan falling from heaven. Then he said,
which Luke did he quote?
Luke, what's that, 10?
10 and 18.
Yeah, 10 and 18, right? So he mentioned that first. Then he mentioned that the key was given to him, right? So he said it can't be the Lord because the key was given to him, just like you give your friend your keys to drive your car. Okay, so let's examine the star part, because there is different stars in the scriptures. There is, you know. Now you do have stars that are representative of the elites, but also you have, matter of fact, give me Genesis 40. Let's see. Genesis 37 and 8. We're going to deal with the star, with the exact star that this is talking about, because true to the point, there is different stars in the scriptures, but mainly the main star throughout all the scriptures from Genesis to Revelation is dealing with Israel, okay? Or is dealing with who the world calls Jesus Christ, Yahweh Shai. Dealing with the Israelites, which he was of the tribe of Judah.
This is Genesis chapter 37, verse 9. And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it his brethren, and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me.
The sun, the moon, and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. So who are those 11 stars? Joseph, this is speaking of Joseph now, he was the 11th son of 12 sons. So if he's one, then the rest of the 11 is his brethren. Okay, who are the patriarchs, who are the father of the 12 tribes of Israel, the fathers of the 12 tribes of Israel. So now, go to Numbers 17 and 24. Let's deal with the star. Let's deal with what the star is actually dealing with in Revelations.
Number 17. You said number 17?
17 and 24 and 17. Man. Yeah, 24 and 17.
This is Numbers chapter 24, verse 17. It says, I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not nigh. There shall come a star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel, and shall smite the corners of Moab, and destroy all the children of Shem.
One more time.
Numbers chapter 24, verse 17. And I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not nigh. There shall come a star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel.
There shall come a star out of Jacob. Who is that? And the scepter. We go to Genesis 49, you read about the scepter. Shall not depart from who? Judah. Till Shiloh come, right? Okay, so that star is Yahweh Shai. That's the star. It's plain. It's plain. Now, you're going to say that he was given, it says he was given the key to the bottomless pit. So now you're saying, well, how is Yahweh Shai given the key? If it's Yahweh Shai, he should have the key, right? Okay, give me the book of Matthew, Baba Kashar. Give me the book of Matthew, the 28th chapter and the 18th verse. Watch how easy this is when you go precept upon precept. See, y'all got to stop doing all this talking and crack open the books. That's the problem with Israel. When something come out that contradicts what you were taught in One West, you want to do all this gum bumping, but you don't want to bring out the precepts to accompany it. The scripture says what? Through thy precepts thou get understanding. Go ahead.
This is Matthew chapter 28, verse 18. And Yahweh Shai came and spake unto them, saying,
Yeah. It's going to come out. It's going to come out. Go ahead.
It says, Matthew chapter 28, verse 18, it says, And Yahweh Shai spake and came unto them, saying, All power is given unto me in heaven and in earth.
Wait, one more time.
It says, And Yahweh Shai came and spake unto me, saying, All power is given unto me in heaven and
all power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. So he was given the key like he was given power.
You got the keys.
You know? Right. Like Big Psych, I got keys. You know? So he was given the key. That's plain. It can't get any more plain than that. So now let's go back to Rev 9 and read verse 1 more time.
Revelation 9:1. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit.
Okay, so now we know he was given the key to the bottomless pit. So let's deal with the bottomless pit. We already explained to you in the sit down that the bottomless pit represents the measure of Israel's wickedness. Zechariah, the 5th chapter, breaks that down, okay? The ephod and the woman in the midst of the ephod, this is wickedness, Israel's wickedness. Israel's the woman. They were cast in there in a measurement tool. The ephod is a tool of measurement. So you measure Israel's wickedness and there is no ending. There's no ending to their wickedness. That's how bad our people are. Why? Because they don't want to keep the commandments, because they want to worship other gods, they want to go contrary to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son. So our wickedness is without measure. It's bottomless. You understand? So now, what they'll do, what GMS Chicago, Uriah, he gonna go into 2nd Ezra 5 and say that the bottomless pit is Europe. Okay. Now let's find out what 2nd Ezra, the 5th chapter, is actually talking about, because we were taught wrong on that as well. So can I get a 2nd Ezra?
I got it.
I need you to give me the precept.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Because it's a precept for everything. You just got to understand the scriptures.
2nd
5 and started like 20, 22.
Let's see. 2nd Ezra 5 and 22. And my soul recovered the spirit of understanding, and I began to talk with the Most High again, and said, O Lord, that bearest rule of every wood of the earth, and of all the trees thereof, thou hast chosen thee only one vine.
Okay, now, of all the wood, one more time, select.
And my soul recovered the spirit of understanding, and I began to talk with the Most High again, and said, O Lord that bearest rule of every wood of the earth, and of all the trees thereof, thou hast chosen thee only one vine.
Okay, so now he chose only one vine, right? Now, what vine is that? What is a vine? Can you explain what a vine is?
A vine is just an extension of a tree.
An extension of a tree. Exactly. When you see Tarzan jumping on those vines, they're connected to the trees. You can't go from vine to vine in a city like this. You have to be in a jungle setting where there's many trees. So a vine comes from a tree. Is not Israel known as a wild olive tree? We are. Okay, you can find that in Jeremiah. He said, you are like a degenerate plant unto me. You find that in the book of Romans 11. Okay, being grafted back in to the same olive tree. So that vine is Israel. Now, oh, doesn't the Lord talk about his vineyard? Salakia. Okay. Man, where is that? Let me find this precept real quick. I had it and I lost it. Okay. Read that one more time.
And said, O Lord that bearest rule of every wood of the earth, and of all the trees thereof, thou hast chosen thee only one vine.
Okay, good. Now, Micah. Slack. Anyway, you got something?
No.
Do me a favor, go. Never mind. So now, the vine being Israel, right? The degenerate plant. We could go to Jeremiah 2, but you already know where it is. All right. So let's keep reading.
And of all the lands of the whole world, thou hast chosen thee one pit, and of all the flowers thereof one lily.
That's what it is. I found it. Yeah, okay, we'll just get it. Jeremiah 2. Give me Jeremiah 2 and 20 real quick. We'll just get it. Because it was in the same verse, just up a little bit. So we'll find out what that vine is through the precepts. Don't let me talk.
Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 20, and it reads, For of old time I have broken thy yoke and burst thy bands. And thou saidest, I will not transgress. When upon every high hill and under every green tree thou wanderest playing the harp. Yet I have planted thee a noble vine, wholly a right seed.
He said, I have what?
Planted thee a noble vine.
I have planted thee a noble vine. He planted Israel as a noble vine. Go ahead.
Holy a right seed. How then art thou turned into the degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me?
Unto a strange vine. That's what we've become. A strange vine. You understand? Israel is that vine. So of all the trees, he's gotten me one vine. Go ahead. Read that one more time.
And said, O Lord that bearest rule of every wood of the earth, and of all the trees thereof, thou hast chosen thee only one vine. And of all the lands of the whole world, thou hast chosen thee one pit.
Now, they're going to use that to say, see, of all the lands, he got one pit, which is Israel, right? The land of Israel. That's how they break it down, right? So then, if you believe that, then you can go to Revelation 9 and say that that bottomless pit represents Europe. But hold on. Jeremiah, the 3rd chapter, in the first verse.
Chapter 3, verse 1. They say, if a man put away his wife, and she go from him, and become another man's, shall he return unto her?
Shall he return unto his woman who went to another man? Go ahead.
Shall not that land be greatly polluted?
Shall not that what?
land be greatly polluted.
Shall not that land be greatly polluted? So now he's calling a woman land. How is this? We're going to find out. If that's not good enough for you, go to, now, drop that. Give me the 2nd chapter and the 20th verse. Jeremiah.
Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 20. It says, For of old time I have broken thy yoke and burst thy bands. If thou saidest, I will not transgress, when upon every high hill and under every green tree thou wanderest playing the harlot. Under every high hill and green tree thou hast played the harlot. Now, shall we understand this literally or figuratively? Have we played the harlot with green trees? What does that mean? How do you play the harlot with a green tree or a high hill? That doesn't make sense. But when you understand hills and trees are representative of people which have their own philosophies and doctrines which we clung unto. Okay? So now the land is representing Israel as a people because it called the woman land. Okay? And we played the harlot under the green tree and the vine. The green tree and the high hill. We played the harlot. You understand? So that's not talking about an actual tree or an actual hill. Now, one more. Let me get, I need the Apocrypha. Hold that, go to Wisdom of Solomon 16 and 19.
Wisdom of Solomon 16 and 19. And at another time it burneth even in the midst of water above the power of fire, that it might destroy the fruits of an unjust land.
Now wait a minute. When you read, start at the top of the first verse, because I want to get some context.
16 and 1. Therefore, by the like were they punished worthily, and by the multitude of beasts tormented. Instead of which punishment, dealing graciously with thine own people, thou preparest for them meat of strange taste.
Now, what's that? This is talking about Egypt, okay? This is talking about the Israelites during the time of Egypt captivity. Now drop down to the 19th verse.
And at another time it burneth even in the midst of water above the power of fire, that it might destroy the fruits of an unjust land.
So that it might destroy the fruits of an unjust land. Now again I ask you brothers, how can land be unjust? Land is dirt and soil, is it not? How does dirt and soil become unjust other than the people that dwell on that dirt and soil pollute it? Matter of fact, give me Numbers 33 and 35 real quick. You have to have people to pollute a land and make it unjust, unbalanced, bloody, polluted, so on and so forth. You can't just have a land and call it unjust for no. It's just land. It does nothing. It has no attributes. It cannot be good or bad. It can be as far as growing crops and what you need it for, but a land in itself cannot be unjust.
The scripture say the land is corrupted.
The land is corrupted
by the inhabitants.
By the inhabitants.
Or defiled by the inhabitants.
Ooh, there you go. I'm about to find that right now. Go ahead and read that.
Numbers, you want 33 and
35.
30. Numbers chapter. Oh yeah, okay, all right.
Classic.
God is good.
That's right. All the time.
All the time, all the time.
God is good.
God is good.
Say it again.
I still don't know what I say. God is good.
There you go. You on it.
Yeah, oh, God is good all the time.
You on it.
Right. I love Jesus. God.
All right.
Jesus put me on this earth.
All right, there you go.
Right. All right, now.
Brother, be blessed.
You too, now.
You know what I'm talking about?
All right, there we go. Sorry. This is Numbers chapter 35, verse 33. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are.
So ye, Y-E, you shall not pollute the land where you are. Go ahead.
for blood it defileth the land.
Blood defiles the land. See, you can't have a land be unjust and polluted without a people doing it. Somebody has to pollute that land for it to be polluted. It doesn't pollute itself. Okay, that's the point. Now, what you quoted is Isaiah 24 and 5. So let's grab that. 'Cause that was a good precept. You know, you gotta understand in context what these scriptures are talking about. And I'm gonna tell you something. These scriptures is not to be taken lightly, because everybody cannot understand the scriptures. You got a lot of people that just go with the flow. They just do what they're told because they can't fully interpret the scriptures. It says, I take them to one that is learned, and he says, I cannot understand it, right? But it's delivered to one that is unlearned. Go ahead. 24:5.
This is Isaiah chapter 24, verse 5. It says, the earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof.
The earth is defiled under the inhabitants thereof. The earth in itself was what? Earth was called a paradise. So how did it get defiled and polluted and all these things? Because of the people that dwell in it. So now, when it says that the land is an unjust land, it's dealing with the people in the land. You understand? So through Jeremiah 1, the woman that commits adultery on you is a polluted land. Okay. Then you got Jeremiah 2, where he called them a noble vine, and then he turned them into a degenerate plant and said they played the harlot under every green tree and high hill. Then Wisdom of Solomon said the land is unjust. So now let's go back to 2nd Ezra 5, and let's see. I mean, it's common. I mean, it's plain once you break it down. It's plain that pit is talking about Israel. Go ahead.
2nd Esdras 5 and 24. And all the lands of the whole world thou hast chosen thee one pit, and of all the flowers thereof one lily.
Oh, okay, since you said that, right? You may better give me Hosea 14 and 5. Because you said the lily. Let's start at 4. Because you mentioned the lily, right? So now let's go. Let's see what the lily. Who's the lily?
Hosea chapter 14, verse 5.
4.
Chapter 4?
No, start at verse 4.
Okay. Hosea chapter 14, verse 4. I will heal their backsliding. I will love them freely.
Now who backslided? Israel. That's who it's talking about. Go ahead.
For mine anger is turned away from him. I will be as the dew unto Israel.
I will be as the dew unto Israel. Come on.
He shall grow as the lily.
He shall what?
Grow as the lily.
He shall grow as the lily. You understand now? Go ahead.
And cast forth his roots as Lebanon. His branches shall spread, and his beauty shall be as the olive tree, and his smell as Lebanon.
See, there you go. His beauty shall be as the olive tree. Now give me Songs of Solomon 2 and 1 real quick. See what I'm saying? So you're going off saying that the one pit is the land of Israel, to say that the bottomless pit is Europe, because it's not Europe. The bottomless pit is not Europe, okay? And the pit that the Most High loves is Israel. Israel is a people before they're a place. You mean to tell me in Revelation 21, when he saw New Jerusalem descending from heaven, he saw a clump of dirt and grass with clumps of dirt falling off as it's descending?
Huge city.
You know what I mean? No, it's talking about the Israelites, the elect descending. That's the city, because why? In Isaiah, Israel's called that faithful city, that righteous city. That's what we're going to be called in the kingdom. Because why? Israel is a people before it's a place. And GMS taught you that. So I don't understand why now you're going against what you was taught on that regard. Because they wasn't going off saying that Israel was a people before it's a place. They're not going off on that. But you deviating from that because of your hatred, you know what I mean? Which is crazy. Go ahead.
Songs of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 1. I am the rose of Sharon.
I am the rose of Sharon.
And the lily of the valley.
And I am the lily of the valley. Come on, man. Now let's go back to 2nd Ezra 5. You see, you got to go through the precepts to get understanding. And everybody doesn't have to. Everybody, look, just because everybody goes out there doesn't mean that everybody has understanding. Because you can go out there and parrot somebody all day long. But until you actually go into it, you know how you know you're not parroting? When you can hear a word, it tells you in the Apocrypha, a wise man will hear a word and he will add unto it. You see, that's how you know you're not parroting, when you're able to come up with your own precepts to back up what you were told. That shows that you have understanding, instead of just saying, oh, okay, that's right, I'm just going to go with that. You don't do that. It's a lot of guys doing that out there. And you holding on to this one breakdown that they told you that they got from One West. You holding on to that for dear life because you don't know any other way to break it down. Go ahead.
And of all the lands of the world thou hast chosen thee one pit.
Right.
And of all the flowers thereof one lily.
Come on.
And of all the depths of the sea thou hast filled thee one river.
And of all the depths of the sea he filled one river. So what's that one river that he filled? What is it, the Nile? What, the Euphrates? Which one is his favorite? He's talking about Israel. Out of thy belly shall flow what? Rivers of living water. Come on.
And of all builded cities,
and of all builded cities, now we're going to get it. Now this is the cut to you. I didn't even have to bring out all the precepts. This right here is the cut to you. Go ahead.
And of all the builded cities, thou hast hallowed Zion unto thyself.
One more time.
And of all builded cities, thou hast hallowed Zion unto thyself.
Of all the builded cities, he hallowed Zion unto himself, which is talking about Israel. That's who the Most High chooses, Israel. His people, Israel. The one that the Bible was written about, from front to back, Israel. You got Isaiah 1 and 20. Yeah, 1 and 20.
Isaiah chapter 1, verse 20. And it reads, but if ye refuse and rebel, ye shall be devoured with the sword, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken it.
You're going to be devoured with the sword if you refuse to do good. Go ahead.
How is this faithful city becoming harlot?
How is this who?
Faithful city become a harlot.
How is the faithful city become a harlot? So he's talking to Israel. He called them a city. Of all the builded cities, it's like he had him, right? Zion. Of all the builded cities, he chose Zion. So how has the faithful city become a harlot? Come on.
How is the faithful city become a harlot? It was full of judgment. Righteousness lies in it, but now murderers.
Righteousness lies in it, but now murderers. So there you go. There's your bottomless pit. How many scriptures do we have to pull showing how Israel went off? I mean, they went through 4 different captivities, and we're not even done with the 4th one. 4 different captivities. Oh, it didn't include Egypt. So really 5. Judges, that's right. Yeah, that's right. The Moabites had their turn. So really, if you really want to get technical, it's a lot. I don't know the exact number, but it's a lot of captivity. Matter of fact,
You got that too, right?
yeah, hold on.
You got it right on the foot.
Bam. Bam, right here. The captivities of the nation of Israel. Show that to the camera. Just take a look at that. Let them read all that.
Panic.
Now this right here is all the different captivities. Now why would we go into even one of those if we wasn't going off? You see?
We was going off in our land.
Right.
We was going off in our city, our land.
That's right. So now let's read them. You got Egypt, you got the Cushites, you got Moab, the Canaanites, the Midianites, the Ammonites, the Philistines, the Assyrian, Babylonian, Persian, Greeks, Romans, and you got modern day Rome today. So you see what I'm saying? So we went through all those captivities because of wickedness. That's why Israel's the bottomless pit of wickedness. We had to go through so many different captivities because of it. I mean, that's common sense. We've been a bad people. We haven't been a righteous people, a faithful people. That's why we're in the condition that we're in right now. That's why our people are least regarded. The scriptures say, "Oh nation not desired." Who's less desired than the true Israelites of the Bible, which are in captivity in this land and in all lands across the world. Who? It ain't the Arabs, ain't the Japanese, ain't the Chinese. You know what I'm saying?
The Arabs, for
Sure
sure.
ain't the Arabs.
Appreciate it, bro.
Y'all got everything. You in your kingdom now. See, they think it's funny because they're living good. We not living good though. Ain't nothing funny about this captivity. Okay? So that's what the bottomless pit is talking about. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Alright, so now let's go back to Revelation 9. Now we're gonna talk about
Back to Revelation 9, verse 2. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit.
Yeah, because the smoke represents distress. You know, Gad had a thing where they sent smoke signals, right? They had smoke signals go up in the sky when they were what? Under distress or they needed help. So the smoke represents the distress of the nation, okay? The distress that's going to come upon Israel. Go ahead.
And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth,
Right.
and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power.
Now, we just read that Yahushua was given all power in heaven and earth. So now the locusts have power. Who did they get the power from? Who did they get it from? Huh? Come on.
And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of the Most High in their foreheads.
Okay, this is World War I, right? According to GMS. Explain to me who had the seal of the Most High in their head during World War I, during 1914. Who had the seal? Who was sealed up? Can you answer that? Who knew the name of the Lord in 1914? And that was in World War. Number one, if they were in World War I, they weren't smart and they weren't of the Lord, because the Lord's not with you joining up to fight with the enemy. Why would He okay that? The Lord tell you that all that join unto them shall be thrust through. So you mean to tell me that men who signed up for World War I because they wanted to fight for this country, God bless America, that they had the seal on them? Ezekiel 9 says you're supposed to be sighing and crying for the abominations being done. So realistically, if they had Jakes in World War I that was sealed, they should have been like, I'm not joining up, and I hope that you blow America up. I hope that you finish this place. That's what they should have been saying. Or in Great Britain, they should have, the Jakes that was in there in Great Britain should have been saying, I hope that Great Britain gets overtaken. I hope that Kaiser Wilhelm overtakes Great Britain. That's what they should have been saying if they were sealed. But you're not going to find that. You know who's sealed? Give me Revelation 14. Revelation 14. We're going to show you who's sealed according to the scriptures. And it wasn't 1914 in no World War I. And it wasn't no Kaiser Wilhelm that was the angel of the bottomless pit either. And you cannot prove that other than by bumping your gums. Give me something else other than you showing a cathedral picture of Kaiser Wilhelm, which we already explained. He's in there because he helped establish the land of Israel for those Khazars, those fake Jews. That's why they put him on a mural, okay, in the church. Because the Pope, the Catholic Church, is for Israel. You understand? Why are they for Israel? Because the bankers, the banking families, the Rothschilds, so on and so forth, they do the banking for the Vatican. That's why. That's why their goals are aligned with each other. Because they are doing banking for them. Why? Because let's take it all the way back to the establishment of the popes. Don't you know that back in the times of the first popes, you couldn't just during like the 7th century, right? After the Khazars came out of the caves and they started to cling on to what they call Judaism. Don't you know that the Pope could not be seen handling money like that? because it was frowned upon. Just like the Pharisees and the scribes, they wanted the money, it was frowned upon. So in order for the Pope to remain pure, right, he had to designate somebody else to take care of the money, so he can't look like he's committing usury or laundering. So what did he do? He went to those Kaisers, those so-called Jews who had no problem. They had no problem committing usury and fraud and loan sharking. They had no problem doing this. Look up Amschel Rothschild. Look up his first business. It'll show you they all about loan sharking and usury. But the Pope had to remain clean, so he couldn't be involved in that. So they issued out the elite banking families to run the money. But consequently, what's his name? One of the Rothschilds, I think is Nathan Rothschild, or whichever one. He said, "Give me control of a nation's money, and I care not who makes its laws." So over time, what ended up happening was this. The ones who had the money for the Vatican, they said, "Look, we got your money. You are going to be in the best interest of us, and we're the best interest of you." You understand? So that's why. So now, let's see who are sealed.
Revelation chapter 14, and right there it says the Lamb. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion.
Yahweh Shai is that unblemished lamb. Okay? Perfect. He stood on Mount Zion. Come on.
And with him 144,000.
With him 144,000. Go ahead.
Having his father's name written in their foreheads.
It's having their father's name written in their forehead. Now, is that the seal? Let's find out. Let's go to Revelation 7 now. 7:1.
Revelation chapter 7 verse 1. It reads, "And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree.
Come on.
And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God.
Having the seal of the living God. Come on.
And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power, Yahweh, in their foreheads.
Hurt not the trees, nor what?
Nor hurt not, nor the sea,
nor the sea, nor the trees, till what?
Until we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads.
So Revelation 7 must be talking about World War I too, right? Because the same thing. He said, don't hurt the grass or the trees or the sea until you sealed the servants. And we just read in 14 that they had their father's name on the forehead. You understand?
Written in their forehead.
So now, you mean to tell me during World War I you had men who knew Yahweh like that? How do you know Yahweh? By keeping his laws. You mean to tell me there was men doing that? That signed up for the war to fight? And then, like I said, how is Revelation 9 talking about World War I, but it's saying the same thing in Revelation 7? So how is that? That must be World War I too.
It's the same thing in Exodus 2.
Okay, let's go to that. And then let's go to Ezekiel 9 after that.
Yeah, I got there already.
So what are you saying? Man, listen.
Whenever you know devastation hits to take place, like, you know, the Lord does seal his servants, or what you have in Ezekiel when he said some will be given to the slaughter, some will flee.
Right.
Some, you know, you're gonna have those times in all of those captivities, you know what I'm saying? And this is to be in the last and final, you know. This is Exodus chapter 12.
Well, because wait, let me back you up on that. During the Babylonian captivity, you had prophets of the Lord who had the seat of the Most High in them, because they followed the law. They didn't want to. What happened to Daniel? What happened to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? They had the seal of the Father. Why? Because they would not bow to the statue. They would not. When they heard the dulcimer and the different music, they would not bow. That's having the seal. That's keeping the law. What happened in Medio-Persia? Daniel was there, right? I mean, yeah, Daniel. But you had Joshua and Zerubbabel go and build up with Nehemiah and Ezra. They had the seal. During the Greek captivity, you had the Maccabees. They had the seal because they would not eat the pork. They would not go and worship Bacchus. They would not worship these Greek gods. They stood and they fought and they died.
Sighed and cried.
And they sighed and cried. During the time of the Roman captivity, you have our Lord and Savior and his 12 apostles and the other that he
got crucified for.
Right, the martyrs.
Yeah, martyrs.
The rest of the martyrs. So there you go. That's the seal. Now show me in World War I where any man had a seal on his forehead. Show me that. Show me a man that was devout unto Yahweh during World War I. This truth didn't even come out until much later.
Show me a man who could be described as knowing Yahweh during World War I. So first of all, to know somebody, you have to at least know their name.
That's
you
right.
can't be like, I know a guy. What's his name? Well, I don't know.
That's right.
Yeah, this is Exodus chapter 12, verse, I'm going to start at 12. And ye shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the 2 side posts with the blood that is in the basin. And none of you shall go out at that door of this house until the morning. For the Lord will pass through to smite the Egyptians. And when he seeth the blood upon the lintel, that's a mark. And on the 2 side posts, the Lord will pass over the door and will not suffer the destroyer. And the Lord will not suffer the destroyer. And the Lord will not suffer the destroyer to come in unto your houses to smite you.
Now hold on. Now check this out. Now give me Revelation 3 and 20. Hold Ezekiel.
Yeah, I got Ezekiel.
Hold Exodus and Ezekiel. Get Revelation 13. I mean 3 and 20.
Revelation chapter 3.
Because you just read that you put the blood on the doorposts, right? And then the 2 side lintels. So let's go.
Revelations 3 verse 20, it says, Behold, I stand at the door and knock.
He does what?
Behold, I stand at the door and knock.
He stands at the door and knocks. What is the door? Come on, keep reading.
He says, if any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him and he with me.
You see that? If any man hear my voice and open the door, I'll sup with him. So now, the door of the blood on the door and the post and the lintels, that was a figure for what was to come. See, the things written aforetime were written for our learning. That's why I tell you in the book of Luke that Yahushua sat the 12 apostles down and explained to them and opened their understanding and showed them how he's written of in the law and the prophets and the Psalms. Because he told them that blood is symbolic. So now that doorpost is now your mind. Okay? Now he comes to your door of your house, because this is a house. Remember when the demons come into a man, they find the house swept and clean. So you are a house. You see what I'm saying? So now he come in and sup with you. The same thing. He would avoid killing you back in Egypt, but now he's not going to kill you. Why? Because he's going to give you wisdom. Not wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time. It's going to keep you from death. The angel of death that was in Exodus is going to be the same angel of death that's coming back, that's going to stand on Mount Zion with 144,000. We just read it in Revelation 14. That lamb, that's the same angel of death, Yahushua, who was given all power on heaven and earth.
I got something real quick. I want to go into something real quick.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that is a great system of texting you. Like, I wonder why it took so long to get to the
Because you got, yeah, basically, let me see. All right, so the brother said a demon or spirit, right? All right,
He said Satan.
yeah, and when you that locust is a plague, right? Locust is a plague, right? Demons can plague you, right?
That's right.
All right, spirits can plague you, right? All right, so now when Yahushua in Luke chapter 10 told them I give you power to tread upon scorpions and locusts and serpents, right? So now, one might mistake that as the same being in the adverse against the Lord in Revelations 9 when he's saying he released locusts and what does it say in 9? It said he released the locusts and the plague. Yeah, and the scorpions, right? And they went across the world to do that. You know, they went across the world and they plagued the land and they did that, all that. You know what I'm saying? In Exodus, those locusts or the spirit, the destroyer, was the same one when he let the spirits out. Basically, what I'm trying to say, and overall, is that the serpents and the scorpions are spirits. All right. When Yahweh Shah gave the 70 the spirit to tread and command them and do all of those things, they were just giving them power to have over those spirits. All right. And now in Revelations 9. The Lord is saying he's unleashing the spirit, which is a serpent or like to a serpent or a scorpion, meaning it's going to bring wrath upon you. All right. So that's the distinction. A scorpion or a serpent can be used, it can be interchangeable. That's my point that I'm trying to get to.
Now wait a minute. You do me a favor. You got something else on there?
No, not just.
Give me Zechariah 14 and 12. Because watch this now. We're dealing with plagues, right? Now check this out. The brother said it was Satan and demons, right? The Christians say that it's demons in Revelation 9 when you look up how they break it down. But check this out. Demons are nothing but angels. You understand? The Most High got a right side and a left side. They're all angels. When he had that council in 2 Kings, and he said, how will you persuade Ahab? And one angel said this, another said that, and one said, I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of the prophets. Okay, it's not like it's some separate, they're both the same. The angels on the right and the left, they just have different jobs. The angels on the right specialize in doing good for Israel. The angels on the left specialize in doing wickedness unto Israel. You see, so they all have their own office.
Offense, defense.
That's all, yeah, offense and defense. It's the same team. In football, you don't send the defense for offense. You send the offense for offense and the defense for defense. It's the same thing. So Yahweh Shai is in control of all of them. He controls all the angels. Everything is under his submission. Everything. You understand? Now watch this. Let's deal with the plagues. Let's deal with 14 and 12.
Zechariah chapter 14, verse 12. It says, and this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem.
Okay, this is going to be the plague that the Lord is going to smite against all people that fought against Jerusalem. Who's going to administer this plague? Who's going to do it? Is it not Yahweh Shai, our Lord and Savior, that's going to do it? Yes. He's going to administer the same plague. The same plague that went down in Egypt, okay? The same destruction and disaster that happened in Egypt is going to happen again. Okay? So it's the Lord that deals with the plagues. You can't deny that. Come on, man. Y'all got to stop. Y'all got to stop this hatred, man. It's clouding your judgment. It's blocking you from understanding the truth because you want to be so mad at somebody talking about such and such is proud and they proud and they like this and that. Define that. Define pride. What has a man done to be prideful? Because he speaks with confidence, because he knows, because we know what we're talking about. That makes us prideful because we speak like we know something. I mean, if I didn't know what I was talking about, rest assured I wouldn't be up here. I wouldn't be speaking if I didn't know what I was talking about. You looking for something? All right, so let's go back to Revelation 9.
Back to Revelation 9. We were at verse. We just ended verse 4. Verse 5. Okay. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man.
All right, come on.
And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them.
That's right.
And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle, and on their heads were as it were crowns like gold, and their faces were the faces of men.
And that's the angels, man. Ezekiel 1. The angels had the face of a man. They went as they didn't turn as they went. Ezekiel 1 is breaking down the angels. The crown, the gold, the face of a man, that's the angels. When they came to Heliodorus, they were decked out in gold. The comely men upon horses. Keep going.
And they had hair as the hair of women.
A woman's hair is her covering, right? Well, back then, the Judite woman used to have hair down to her butt. Okay, it covered her butt. You understand? So that's the hair. It's a covering. Go ahead.
And their teeth were as the teeth of lions.
Right? And teeth, when you go into the book of Daniel, right? And he speaks about the fourth beast, which is the Roman Empire. He talks about having teeth. Okay? Sharp teeth, metal teeth. That's dealing with the military. That's dealing with the strength of power that they have to crush all opponents. That's why they ended up ruling. And they had us in captivity. Go ahead.
And they had breastplates, as it were breastplates of iron. And the sound of their wings...
And that's the covering. The breastplate is part of the covering. Go ahead.
And the sound of their wings was as the sound of chariots, of many horses running to battle.
And that goes into Joel. The great people. How is missiles a great people? A great people set in battle array. That's what these angels are going to do. They're going to go to battle. Against who? Against the people of this world. Against Israel. You understand? That's why it's talking about the men. Don't hurt the men that have to steal. Because this is dealing with Israel as a whole. You understand? That's why it's the first woe. Because it's dealing with Israel. Go ahead.
And they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months.
Yep.
And they had a king over them.
Now here's the point. Well, the whole thing is the point, but here's where we're going to go back to verse 1. And they had a king over them. Do we have to get precepts to show Yahushua is King of Kings? Do we really have to do that? Or can you take our word for it that Yahushua is King of Kings? Okay, go ahead.
Which is the angel of the bottomless pit.
So this same king is the same angel of the bottomless pit in verse 1. Verse 1. Okay? Now mind you, you say it's Kaiser Wilhelm because the word Kaiser is German for Caesar, which means king or emperor. Okay, I got you. I got you. But at the same time, how does Revelation 7, how is that same thing, but that's not dealing with World War I? You have to answer that. You cannot get around that jam. You have to answer, how does Revelation 7 deal with World War I when you say Revelation 9 is World War I? I'd love to know that. So you have to answer that. Go ahead.
The angel of the bottomless pit.
The angel of the bottomless pit. Go ahead.
Whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon.
Whose name in the Hebrew tongue is destruction.
But in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon.
But in the Greek tongue his name is destroyer. Destroyer. Now we gotta hit that.
Destroyer. I already read I brought out the Exodus 12 one. When they were speaking about them in
the Exodus 12, the destroyer.
Yeah.
The same one. Now, let's go back to 1 Corinthians 10. We got to bring that out again because you can make videos all day, but you can't get around 1 Corinthians 10. You can't, and you have not. You've yet to do it. You're not going to do it because you can't do it. You can't do it. Like Denzel said in Training Day. I'm going to get that gun, I'm going to get that money. You know? We already got the gun, but we've been busting shots on you. And we getting to the money because we going right to the precepts. We making it plain upon tables. Y'all cannot refute this. You just mad because it didn't come from the men who you venerate above the Most High. That's all that is. Which you shall not do that anyway. You shall not have no other gods before me. And by you putting this man over the Lord, you making him a god. That's idol worship, idolatry. Got him?
Is that what I saw at Vice?
What?
I see this on Vice.
What's Vice?
Channel Vice.
What did they say about it?
he's talking about that interview with Nathaniel.
What did they say about it?
Oh, they just interviewed.
They interviewed
And they
the
went
church.
with them.
What did you think? What did you think about it?
Everybody's allowed to.
You remembered it,
Everybody's allowed to have their own
but you
thoughts,
remembered
right?
it though, so obviously it was
That's what's
important to you.
About some people,
Yeah.
allowed to speak your mind.
You
That's
free to
good.
think how you want.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, Ephesians, I believe
You guys have a good
Ephesians
weekend.
2.
All right, you too, bro.
Ephesians 2, and I'm starting at 1.
Alright.
Because he said they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit. All right. Now, if you understand, like the whole premise of like Revelations 9, right, is going into the trumpets, right, which is like judgment in waves, I guess you could say. Right. When a military strike happens, it happens in waves. So you know, like even the movie we was talking about, in waves. So when the Lord's coming back, it's gonna happen in waves, and then you know the salvation of Israel, all that stuff, right? Even in Egypt, it happened in waves. Okay.
Right.
So what's going on is
the fifth wave.
the attack is going on, right?
Right.
So it said right here. Now through that, while that attack is going on, those angels, all right, those locusts are also deciphering who has that mark of the Most High, right? Going through, you know, sparing those that have the mark, right? So when we go to Ephesians chapter 2, it says, "And you hath he quickened." It says, "And you hath he quickened, who were dead in trespasses and sins, where in times past you walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience." All right? So that precept relates to the whole premise of Ezekiel 9:4 and Exodus chapter 12 with you know, in Egypt and the coming devastation that's coming, you know, here. All right? That's one of the precepts I got.
Keep lining them up, because now you're going to sit there and say that, oh well, the Lord, the Bible tell you that the Lord is the angel of death. He said he come not to bring peace but a sword, right? He said I would, what did he say? I've come to set fire upon the earth. What would I if it already be kindled? You see? Go ahead.
You got something?
No, 1 Corinthians 10. Let's get the destroyer again.
Oh, you get the destroyers
Again, you have to get it. We have to go through it again, because it's such a key point. These guys want to talk over and go all around it. You want to merry-go-round this breakdown. You want to go all around it, but you don't want to hit it. Hit the points. Go ahead.
1 Corinthians 10:10. Neither murmur ye, as some of them also murmured, and were destroyed of the destroyer.
We'll go up.
Got it.
Just one verse.
Verse 9. Neither let us tempt Yahushai, as some of them also tempted, and were destroyed of serpents.
Right. See, so it's showing you the context of who it's speaking about. Yahushai was the one that killed the firstborns. He was the one that had the serpents bite the Israelites, that Moses had to make the brazen serpent. Yahushai is always the one. He's always the one. Why? Because he said, I am about my Father's business. When the Father says they need to get God, the top hitman is who? The Lord. Who the world calls Jesus, who they want to portray as just being some little hippie type guy who just, you know, he only knows peace and love. You get peace through war. You get peace through destruction. That's how you achieve peace. Like you got right now, right? You got North Korea threatening America and China saying, well, if America threatens and bombs North Korea, China's going to bomb them, right? So they were trying to have peace talks with China to try to get them to say, North Korea, get your mind right. But that's not going down. China's like, no, we're not. It's no peace talks. If you come at them, we're coming at you. So now, how are they going to have peace? The only way there's going to be peace now is through war. You bomb him, he bombs you, blah, blah, blah. That's how you get the peace. So Yahweh Shah is known as what? The Prince of Peace. You understand? Go ahead. Right.
Neither murmur ye as some of them also murmured, and were destroyed of the destroyer.
So that's the destroyer, the angel of death. That's plain. You can't get around that. You cannot get around that. But see, these guys bring up all these other arguments, but they don't get to the point. That's the point. We just read the point. And we brought out the point in verse 1. You can't get around those. See, the problem is, this breakdown is very heavy because it destroys everything that you were taught from One West. Not everything, but a lot of things. It breaks down those strongholds from One West. And One West was clearly, they were clearly going off on a lot. They had a lot of negative, wicked things going on in One West, okay, that the public doesn't readily know about. So I'm telling you, when you look into, and don't take our word for it, look up everything we saying, and I challenge you, I challenge all of you to go find fault in this. The guy from Men of Valor talking about there's loopholes in it, but where are they?
You can't just say there's loopholes and then just leave it at that. You have to point them out.
You gotta show them. Use the book to show the loopholes. That's the only way you're gonna. That's the only way you're gonna convince the masses. Because a lot of you guys know that what you've been taught is going off. It's not Kaiser Wilhelm. You know that, but you scared to speak up because you don't have any backbone. I can't help you there. If you don't have any cojones, any nuts, I can't help you with that. You know, you just a falsetto preaching type of dude. That's what you are. Because you sackless. Grow a pair and man up. And when they going off, tell them they going off and force them to prove it. They kicked, Men of Valor kicked out 4 brothers, 4 young brothers, all because they went to their leadership in that camp and they said, can you show us through the precepts if this is Kaiser Wilhelm? Do you know this is Kaiser Wilhelm, or were you taught that? And they couldn't say nothing. And they got vexed, just like when just like when Stephen was breaking and Peter, they were breaking down the scriptures to the Pharisees. What happened? They got vexed at him and they started to stone him and threaten to kill him. Same thing with our Lord. You know, that's the same thing that's going on right now. Men being threatened, men being sanctioned, and men being cast out and all that. Because why? Because they ask questions. You're supposed to ask questions. Let me show you, all you brothers that got kicked out, all you brothers that got chastised and rebuked and made fun of and things like that for asking questions. Let me explain something. You in good company, because why? The wisest man in all of Athens, Greece, by the name of Socrates, he was called the wisest man in Athens by the oracle, okay? Because he acknowledged that he knew nothing. Therefore, since he acknowledged that he didn't know anything, he asked questions. And that's why they hated him, because he probed. He asked questions. He dug. He dug deep for the information. And when they couldn't provide the information, they turned on him. They got cut to the heart and they turned on him and they killed that man because of that. So you know you in good company. They killed the Lord for asking questions. The Lord said, if I do wickedness, then smite me. But if I have done no wickedness, why smitest thou me? The Lord did nothing but ask questions that they couldn't answer. He said, the Lord said unto my Lord, sit at thy right hand until thy enemies have become thy footstool. So if he said, How is it that he called David, how David called him Lord in spirit and they couldn't say anything? That's how you know you in good company, when you asking questions that these guys gonna get mad at you for. You should never get mad at somebody for asking a question, because if anything, it's gonna help sharpen your iron if you don't know the answer. But see, these guys is too proud to say, I don't know the answer, so they go ahead and make things up or just talk, you know, talk about you in a negative way. Because they don't know. You guys don't know. That's sad that pride has to come between Israelites. That now a man can no longer be your brother because he asks you questions that you couldn't answer. You can't retort. That's sad. You got any of those Christian or the angel? You looking for something? Yeah. You looking for something? All right. Yeah, man, that's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. Israel's bottomless pit of wickedness. Now, go to the book of Zechariah, the 5th chapter, and you're going to see all that. It's right there, right in front of you. It's right in front of you. The law, the measure, the tool of measurement, which is the law, okay? And Israel never measures up to the law. We constantly go against the law. So what? We're in wickedness. So that bottomless pit of wickedness, you know? That's what we in. And for that wickedness, we get sent in captivity. We get chastised. We get brought low amongst the heathen for that wickedness. All right, well, don't worry about that. Let's go to Revelation 11.
Revelation chapter 11, start at 1.
Yep.
It says, And there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood, saying, Rise and measure the temple of the Most High, and the altar, and them that worship therein.
See, he said, rise and measure the temple of the Most High. See how everything's always getting measured? Israel's always getting measured. You understand? You measure something for accuracy. Okay? So you can have the precise fit. When you measure, like for architecture, you measure for the correct fit. You understand? So Israel has become the temple, those lively stones. So what do? You measure those stones so that they will fit properly, one against another, and so on.
Well, it says, Rise and measure the temple of the Most High, and the altar, and them that worship therein. But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not. For it is given unto the Gentiles, in the holy city, which they tread underfoot 40 and 2 months.
Right, 3.5 years they're going to tread Israel underfoot.
And I will give power unto you, unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth.
And we haven't even came to this time yet. The 42 months, we haven't even come to that time yet. That's after Israel's put in the land. After the elect are put in the land with their household. I mean, let me not discount that. The elect with their household, when they get put in the land of Israel, the 2 witnesses going to prophesy, and the heathen's going to have room for 42 more months. They're going to continue a short time. That's how he knows he has but a short time. You understand? Because once things set into play, then the time, now the what do you call that? The hourglass starts. Now the sand starts falling from the hourglass. The countdown. It's the final countdown. That's it. So look. So now the 2 witnesses is clothed in sackcloth for 3.5 years. But who are the 2 witnesses? You know, we got to go to. First, let's go to. Let's start with oh, okay. The 2 witnesses, what are they witnessing? What is it? First of all, what does the word witness mean? Can you look up the word witness? Let's find out what that word means. That the word witness is going to show you exactly what we just read in verse 2.
All right, the word for witnesses is martyrs.
Martyr.
Yeah, martyrs. Yeah.
Martyr.
A witness in a legal sense, in a historical sense, one who is a spectator of anything, of a contest. In ethical sense, those who, after his example, have proved their strength and genuineness of their faith in Christ Yahweh Mashiach by undergoing a violent death.
A violent death. That's a martyr witness. That's what it means to witness. Now, when you read verse 2, it tells you that the Gentiles will trample the holy city 40 and 2 months. But the 2 witnesses are going to prophesy for them 3.5 years. So now what? Those 2 witnesses are going to become martyrs. That's why they're called witnesses, because they're going to come to a violent death.
That's what in the Greek, that's what it says martyr.
You understand?
That's
why they're going to come to that violent death, because the Gentiles are going to trample over them for the witness. Now, what are they witnessing? What are they dying a violent death for? Give me the book of Revelations 3 and 14. Give me John 18:37.
Revelations 3 and 14. And unto the angel of the church of the Laodiceans write, these things saith the Amen, the faithful and true witness.
The faithful and true what?
Witness.
The faithful and true witness. Go ahead.
The beginning of the creation of the Most High.
The beginning of the creation of the Most High. That faithful and true witness. So Yahweh Shai witnesses of who? His Father. The witness is the Israelites witnessing of the Father and His Son. That's what they're going to tell, man. Wow.
Ishmael.
No, that's Ephraim.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But look, so that's what the witnesses is going to die for. They're going to die for Yahweh Shai. That Brother John? Oh. Give me Psalms 119 and 142.
John 8, 20, 37. John 18, verse 37. It says, Pilate therefore said unto him, art thou a king then? Yahweh Shai answered, thou sayest that I am king. To this end was I born, and for this cause came I into the world, that I should bear witness unto the truth.
See, for this cause he came into the world, that he should bear witness unto the truth. And I tell you, that's the same reason that we are brought into the world, to bear witness of the truth. Now, what is the truth? That's when you get that Psalms.
The Psalms 119 and 142. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth.
And thy law is the truth. You understand? The law of Yahweh, the words of Yahweh, the instruction of Yahweh is the truth. That's what you bear witness of. And the law prophesied what? Of his son, the Messiah, that was to come and be the scapegoat, to be that that lamb, that sacrificial lamb. That's what we bear witness to. That's what we're willing to die a violent death for.
That word in that verse is martyria, which is another word for martyr. Martyria, right?
That's right. So now why? So now we know what they witnessed it for. Let's deal with the two aspect of it. Two witnesses, right? You got the Lord did everything in twos, because why? Out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let every word be established. Okay, so that's what the 2 is for. Now you had Israel and Judah were compared as 2 pillars, okay, or 2. What's that scripture? They were likened unto 2 something. I forget the scripture. Israel and Judah. They were likened unto 2 man. Yeah, two sisters. There you go. There you go. There you go.
One went and played the harlot.
Yeah, that's right.
and
That's
she
right.
didn't learn after her.
That's
sister.
right. Bam. That's the body. Yeah. Yeah. So see, the twos. Everything in twos. Yahweh Shai sent them 2 by 2. You understand? You also had 2 pairs with Moses. Moses had Aaron. Elijah had Elisha. You understand? 2s. You know, the dynamic duos. So the elect is going to have to be the ones that's going to have to die violently for the witness of Yahweh Shai, for the witness of the truth, which is the law. Which the law states that blood defiled the land. That, you know, blood is the only thing that can absolve it. Blood is the only thing that's required to make it right. So those 2 witnesses are going to be prophesying in sackcloth, which sackcloth just represents a mourning, you know, being lowly, because they're telling you of what's going to happen to the land, what's going to happen to all the land, what's going to happen. The Lord has to require the blood from the people who polluted his inheritance. That's the law. That's in the book of Numbers. We just read it. So that's what the 2 witnesses are out there prophesying for, right? Now, check this out. This is from my Old Testament onlys. The Old Testament only brothers, right? Now, you had 2 witnesses, you had 2 builders of the temple to rebuild the temple. Who were those 2? Zerubbabel and Joshua, the high priest. Okay? Zerubbabel was the governor, which Yahweh Shai is called the governor. He's going to have the government on his shoulders. And Joshua, his name is Yahweh Shai, and he's a high priest, which it tells you in Hebrews that Yahweh Shai is a high priest. Okay? So now, Joshua and Zerubbabel, right? Now for my Old Testament onlys, if you want to sit there and say, well, the Messiah is not in the Old Testament, well, other than the book of Daniel and the book of Genesis 49, aside from that, check this out. Now, when you had the Israelites, when you had the Israelites come out of Egypt, okay, and cross the sea on dry land and go through the wilderness, what were they doing? Where were they headed? To the land of Canaan, which was their promised land. The land flowing with milk and honey, okay? So Moses represents the law, correct? Because Moses gave the law. Oh, yeah. Wow.
Worship the woman and worship the man.
Yep, that's it. Man, them some hot hoes. So look, so Moses represents the law. Moses led the children of Israel up to the promised land, but he didn't make it. The Lord said, Moses, you're not going to make it into the promised land. Right? But who made it into the promised land? Who led the Israelites into the promised land? Not Moses, Joshua.
Try again, Motherfucker. Try again, Motherfucker.
Joshua, which means Yahweh Shai in the Hebrew. Yeah. He led the Israelites into the promised land, so that shows you that you cannot get to the kingdom through the law. The law cannot justify you. That's why Moses didn't make it. The things that are written aforetime were written for our learning. Amen. Moses could not take us to the promised land. But who did? Joshua. Which Joshua in the Hebrew means he is salvation. The deliverer. He delivered the Israelites into the promised land, showing you you're not going to make it by the law, but by the Savior. And that's in the Old Testament. So how are you going to say that you don't believe the Messiah came? The Messiah came, you crucified him, he ascended up into heaven, and he's on his way back.
And plus what was that, Amos? The Lord said, do away with your sacrifices and
yeah, he don't want it.
Stuff like that.
He don't want to smell it.
That can't even bring us near. That can't even get us there, you know. So
it's not going to get you there because he didn't want to hear it. All you was doing was sacrificing every time you went off, as if it meant nothing to you, as if it was a frivolous thing. We'll just sacrifice some turtle doves today, no big deal. I got a whole pigeon coop of them. I got a whole coop of turtle doves. Just let me know. You know what I'm saying? You got you got so many turtle doves and bullocks and everything else. You just saving them up because you know you're gonna go off. That's why the Lord got tired of it. He said, I don't want to smell that anymore. Because you keep overloading me with it. That's like you like pizza, right? You like to eat pizza. Go work at a pizza restaurant and let's see you eating pizza every day. Let's see how long you're gonna still like pizza. Pretty soon you're gonna be like, I don't want no pizza. That's how the Lord was. You keep sacrificing that smell was supposed to be a sweet savor, which means it wasn't supposed to be frequent. Something that's sweet, like, okay, the psychologist named Pavlov, right? I forget his first name. We can find it though. But Pavlov, he's famous for having the dog trials, right? What he would do is he had dogs who he would feed. He would let them smell like steak or whatever it is that they were eating, and he let them smell it but not eat it. First he would let them smell it, then he would let them eat it, right? So then day after day he would do this. Let them smell it, let them eat it. Then he let them smell it but didn't let them eat it, and what happened? They started salivating. They started foaming at the mouth because they wanted that. Now that it got withheld from them, they wanted it. That which is precious is that which is rare. You understand? That which is more abundant is not precious anymore. Just like diamonds. Diamonds are not, technically diamonds are not precious. Because you find diamonds all over the earth. But De Beers, them so-called Jews, they hoard and covet those diamonds. And they only pass out a little bit of them. So now they have made an abundant commodity a precious commodity because they withhold it from the public. So the prayers and the incense and the sweet savor was supposed to be precious to the Lord because he wasn't supposed to smell it all the time. But you made him smell it all the time even when he didn't want to. Just smell it. You know what I'm saying?
That psychologist, his first name was Ivan.
Ivan Pavlov. There you go. Ivan Pavlov. Look it up. But that's true. But that experiment he did was true because it just goes to show you that it tells you that in the Apocrypha. Matter of fact, can you get me? I think it's 2nd Ezra's.
You got it, bro. You got it. Okay.
I know it's
Peace, guys.
alright, peace, bro. Now check it out. Go to where is this? That's crazy. Leave my trainer.
You got that swag. Look at all about it.
Where is that? Speak real quick.
So you about to read? No. Oh, okay.
I'm trying to find that precept.
Precept for what?
The more precious is the thing that is more. I want to say it's 2nd Ezra 3. 2nd Ezra 3. Go to the 3rd chapter. It might be.
Well, think of like baseball cards. The cards that are harder to come by are the ones that are worth like thousands of dollars. Everything that's less abundant.
Oh, okay. Here we go. You just said it too. 2nd Ezra 7 and 57. There we go. There we go.
2nd Ezra 7 and 57. Then answered he me and said, this is the condition of the battle. Which man that is born upon the earth shall fight?
Right.
That if he be overcome, he shall suffer as thou hast said. But if he get the victory, you sure this is it?
Hold on, hold on. Hold on. A second. Come on now. I just had it too. I just had it. It says, judge the things that are precious and desirable.
I hate that.
Man.
Didn't lose your spot, just man.
Those things that are precious and desirable. Man, bro, I just had it. I had it. I thought it was 7, but I could be mistaken. But anyway, the point is that which is more precious is that which is to be desired. That's the main point. Right? Okay, now let's go back to the 2 witnesses. That's how it tracks out. Let's go back to the 2 witnesses. Now, they're going to be prophesying in sackcloth for 3.5 years, right? Now, see, to understand the 2 witnesses, we got to go to Matthew. So, give me the book of Matthew, the 24th chapter. Now, we already broke down how the 2 witnesses represent Zerubbabel and Joshua, and those 2 men represent, you know, the kings and the priests. Zerubbabel represents the kings because he came from the line of David, and Joshua represents the priest because he's the high priest, and Yahweh Shai is the high priest. Okay. Now Israel's going to be a nation of kings and priests. Let's go to Matthew 24 to get the understanding of the 2 witnesses, right? We started 4.
Matthew 24 and 4. And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. But the end is not yet.
But the end is not yet. Come on.
For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places.
So we see it. So this is going on and will be going on. Go ahead.
All these are the beginning of sorrows.
The beginning of sorrows. Come on.
And shall they deliver you up to be afflicted?
And they're going to deliver you up to be afflicted. Go ahead.
And shall kill you.
And shall kill you.
And ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake.
Right? You're going to be hated for my name's sake. Now, Israel is not really hated. The world don't really hate Israel for the name of Yahweh Shai right now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Israel's not that big right now. The world don't really know about Israel like that. Look at the views that brothers is getting on their videos. There's almost 8 billion people on the planet. Brothers not even getting 100,000 views like that. So come on. Go ahead.
And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many.
Right.
And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold.
Right.
But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved.
Come on.
Amen.
And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations.
Wait a minute. So pause. Read that one more time.
And this gospel of the kingdom shall be...
Wait. This gospel of the kingdom, okay, of what's to come. Go ahead.
Shall be preached in all the world.
In all the world. See, you got brothers that say, well, that's because of YouTube, that's going on now. No. The gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world. Go ahead.
For a witness.
For a what?
Witness.
A witness.
Unto all nations.
He shall send his 2 witnesses. Shall be for a witness That's what's going to happen. That's what this is talking about. Those two witnesses talking about the things, the kingdom and the things to come and the destruction that's coming. That's how the gospel is going to be preached, because the world does not care about Israel right now. But when the two witnesses who have power, they're going to broadcast them on CNN, Fox News, NBC, and all that. The whole world is going to see that at that point. Everybody's eyes is going to be fixed on Israel. Because they're going to be like, you see, these men got power. Look what they're doing. Who's done this? So the whole world is going to be listening at that time. That's why when you go back to Revelation 10, the very last verse, he tells John that thou shalt prophesy again against many kingdoms and nations and kings, because he's telling them, you're going to be my witness. So go ahead.
Oh, just for the sake of bringing it out, the word for that word world is oikumeni, which means the inhabited earth.
The whole world.
The entire earth.
Not just Israel, everybody. Because why? They got to hear about their judgments. You're going to get your judgment before it comes. In word.
For a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come.
And then shall the end come. Just like John the Baptist was sent. And that's another thing, right? Now they want to say that Malachi, the prophecy in Malachi, I will send Elijah before the great and terrible day of the Lord. Well, the great and terrible day of the Lord is not here yet. Okay, so Elijah is going to come and be one of them, be a witness. He's part of those witnesses. You understand? Because they're going to witness the coming of the Lord. Just like John the Baptist. He was on the scene, then immediately the Lord came on the scene. Not a gap of 40, 50 years. Directly. Like one after another. Like they witnessed, then here comes Yahushua. I told you you're going to be destroyed, now you're going to be destroyed. Right next minute. Because it tell you, well, we're going to keep going in Revelations, because it tell you that after their dead bodies was on the street and they rose up again, you know. Keep going.
Matthew or Revelation?
Let me see, where is that?
Just got the 14.
Oh, yep, keep going.
When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand.
Now he was speaking of, see, Daniel prophesied of the end. Now, matter of fact, do me a favor. Go to Daniel 11 and 36. Because see, Daniel the 11th chapter goes into the Syrian wars, but at the bottom, then it starts going into the future. He starts giving the future prophecy of the end. That's why Yahushua said, when you see the abomination spoken of by the prophet Daniel. See, the dog wants to hear the word. Go ahead.
He said Daniel what?
11 and
This is 11. Daniel chapter 11 verse 37. It says, neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any God. Okay. Daniel chapter 11 verse 40 says,
that's a spiritual
and at the time of the end shall the king of the south
now
push
wait a
at
minute.
him.
Okay, pause. Read that one more time. Let's focus now.
And at the time of the end
At the time of the end. So see, Daniel 11 is going into the time of the Greeks, Antiochus. Huh? Yeah, the dog want to hear the word, man. That's a black dog. What do you?
Jake or something.
Okay, so he said at the time of the end. See, so the Syrian, the first 37, 38, 39 verses is talking about the Syrian war. So it went from that automatically to the time of the end, which we're in now. So read that again.
Daniel chapter 11 verse 40, and at the time of the end shall the king of the south push at him.
So the king of the south push at him. Go ahead. Now you read the king of the south, and you thinking, well, that's talking about Ptolemy, because it was talking about Ptolemy further on up in the verse. But no, now we're talking about the end. So now you take the same position, that southern region, and you replace it with you replace it with the end. Huh? Yep, just like Gog and Magog, exactly. Gog and Magog were Japhites, but now there's Edomites in that land. So in the end times, you replace it with who's living in the land. So go ahead.
It says, and the king of the north shall come against him.
And the king of the north is going to come against him. Go ahead.
Like a whirlwind with chariots, and with horsemen, and with many ships, and he shall enter into the countries and shall overflow and pass over.
Right. So see, when the great armies come into Jerusalem, they're going to occupy all those other territories first, and then Jerusalem is last. They're going to surround, they're going to steadily surround Jerusalem. Okay? But you don't surround a country unless you subdue all the other countries around it in the vicinity. So you subdue them and then you attack at the nucleus, at the middle. That's what that's talking about. So when he says, when you see the abomination spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place, right? Because Daniel spoke about Antiochus as the abomination, but there's also in the latter time, which Yahushua is speaking in the latter time in Matthew 24. He's not talking about, that's already, Antiochus is already past. Am I right or wrong? During the time of Yahushua, Antiochus has already been gone. Okay? The Maccabean period is like, what, 300 years before Yahushua, or 100, maybe 150 years before Yahushua. Okay, so that's already gone. So now he's speaking of the end time. Go ahead.
Verse 41, he shall, verse 41, he shall enter also into the glorious land, and many countries shall.
Oh, he shall do what?
He shall enter also into the glorious land.
What's the glorious land? Israel. Come on.
It says, and many countries shall be overthrown, but these shall escape out of his hand, even Edom and Moab and the chief of the children of Ammon.
Right. Why? Because why? Because China, first of all, China, Moab, and Ammon is going to be aligned with him, first of all. Second of all, Edom is him. He is I and I is him. Which those lands, but it's really referring to those lands. But go ahead, back to Matthew 24.
24 verse 16. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains.
Now he's saying this because they're going to trample a holy city 40 and 2 months. So he's telling you what's going to happen when they come in there. Go ahead.
Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house.
Now wait a minute. Now okay, because they say this is 70 AD, right? He said if you're on the housetop, don't come down, right? Now in 70 AD, what did they do? They garrisoned off Masada. They blocked it off. So them people starved in there. You had Israelites that risked their lives trying to cross that what do you call that thing that when they dig a hole? Moat. You had Israelites dying to cross that moat so they could get to some food or something. They just, they were sitting there waiting for them, and when they crossed, they killed them. But Israelites risked their lives to get the hell out of that famine.
Yeah, trying to run up out of there.
Right. They knew they were going to die, but they didn't want to endure that famine and eat their own children and their own self and stuff. So he's telling them, stay on the housetop. Go ahead.
Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days.
Right, because they coming. They coming after you. They're not going to take pity on you or your children in that day. Go ahead.
But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day.
Right.
For then shall be great tribulation.
Then shall be what?
Great tribulation.
Great tribulation. Isn't that the hour of temptation? Isn't that Jacob's trouble? Isn't that all the same thing? The hour of great tribulation. Go ahead.
Such as was not seen, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be.
Read that again.
For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time.
Right.
No, nor ever shall be.
Nor ever shall there be. You see, that's talking about now. What's about to come, Jacob's trouble. The hour of temptation. Go ahead.
And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved.
Except those days be shortened. You understand? Now you're getting the picture. Now you see, this is talking about when Gog and Magog come into the land of Israel. 3.5 years are going to trample over the holy city. It's not talking about 350 years being in America. Everything is not America, okay? America's in the scriptures, but everything is not America. America's going to be destroyed because it's part of Babylon. It's part of Mystery Babylon. But everything doesn't consist of America. America's just a pawn, okay? It's a pawn used by the Vatican to run experiments, to get money. Because when it tells you in Revelations how the merchants mourned for Babylon because they couldn't make of her delicacies, that's all that's talking about is how the Vatican set up London to be the money and America to be the military, but at the same time America was set up to be the money as well, because slaves are here. Slaves are also in England. And what are they doing? They're making hella money off of us. And they're doing major business off of us. Okay? How do you think, what do you think happened during slavery? The cotton industry, the cotton gin, Eli Whitney and all that, what did that come off the backs of? Not the Edomites, it came off the backs of Israel. They were making money off of us. The whole world is making money off of us. Everything in this country has got another country's name on it where it was manufactured. Same thing in England. You know what I'm saying? That's why, that's what I'm saying. That's why they're gonna howl and cry, because when you take out the head, you wipe out the whole, you wipe out the body with it. America, Great Britain, the Vatican, they're all gonna be taken out.
I'm sure you've all heard the saying, cut off the head of a snake and the body dies.
That's right. And that's exactly what's gonna happen. That great city, which is the Vatican City, it's gonna be taken down. Alright, go ahead.
God. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened.
Right.
Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is the Hamashiach, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Yahushais and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect.
All right, that's good. All right, so let's finish out going back to Revelation 11.
Revelations 11.
The other one that's left for life or something like that. So
Revelation 11 and 4. These are the two olive trees, and the two candlesticks standing before the Most High of the earth.
Which represent Joshua and Zerubbabel, which go into the kings and the priests. The elect are kings and the nation of kings and priests. Go ahead.
And if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth, and devoureth their enemies.
Right.
And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. These have power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy.
Right.
And have power over waters to turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues.
See, this is why the people are going to be paying attention. When this is being done in the earth, then everybody's going to pay attention to Israel. Not now. Now you don't pay attention because we don't have any power. We're using words. Nobody pays attention to words. That shows you that you got to come with force, because nobody pays attention to our words. Even though we're speaking the truth, nobody's listening. But when the power comes, then they're going to listen. Go ahead.
And they shall have finished their testimony. The beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them.
See, and then look, Israel, that goes hand in hand with Revelation 9, because that bottomless pit, what happened? Because of Israel's wickedness, them locusts came out the bottomless pit to attack Israel, right? So same likewise. The beast is going to be let out the bottomless pit. Why? To come against Israel. to purge them, for that final purging, you know? Because Yahushua said, are you able to drink the cup that I'm going to drink? Are you able to be baptized with the baptism that I will be baptized with? And James and John said, yes, we are. And he said, indeed you are. You know? Go ahead.
The beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them and kill them. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified.
And that's Israel, because the Lord was crucified in Israel. Now also Israel has become Sodom and Egypt. Why? Because they have become, as the heathen, sodomy with their homosexuality and idolatry. Egypt the same way. Egypt does mean bondage, but hell, bondage is also bondage in your mind, bondage to these false gods that are no gods. You know, the gods of Egypt. You can look all around in these countries and you can see Egyptian idols all over the place. You know. Now hold on. What verse did you just read?
I just read 11 and 8. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half.
Yeah, they all going to see it because it's going to be all over the news. 3 days and a half. The same amount of time that our Lord was in the ground. Go ahead.
And shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves.
Right.
And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them, and make merry, and shall send gifts to one another. Because
they thinking that the judgment that they pronounce is not going to happen now. Oh, they pronounce judgment on us, but it's not going to happen because we killed them. Well,
because these two prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth.
So he tormented them how? With the plagues and with the judgment. That's torment to somebody, to tell them how you going to die, and you going to die immediately after I get done telling you going to die. Come on.
And after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of life from the Most High entered into them. And they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them.
Right.
And they heard a great voice from heaven, saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud.
And they ascended into a cloud. Go ahead.
And their enemies beheld them.
And their enemies beheld them. You understand? That's the terror, the great fear that's going to fall upon these people. When they say, well, damn, I thought we killed them, but they're not really dead. You didn't really kill them. They're sleeping. Those that sleep in the dirt shall awake. What did Daniel say? Those that are asleep, some shall awake. You see what I'm saying? So you're not really dead, you're sleeping. The Most High can allow that. He can allow your body to separate from your spirit, and your body does not deteriorate. And that's what's going to happen. It's not going to deteriorate. It's just going to be laying there. And that's going to be like a three and a half day nap.
Yeah, there was on the Game of Thrones, Jon Snow was resurrected.
Yeah.
All right. So he was dead for a moment.
They stabbed him up.
And when the spirit, which the spirit is energy, is an energizer, right? It's it fuels, right? Or it's a spirit. It lives. It's a living. It's living. So if the spirit was replaced back in his body already is it starts going back where it left off. It starts regenerating. Right. He started to heal. He started getting his color back and things like that.
Yeah. And they stabbed him good too.
And he thought he was asleep. When the little sorceress chick.
That's exactly right. And that's what people say when they come back. They thought they were sleeping. Yeah. It's like a rest period. That's all it's going to be, is a 3-day rest period. And they're going to get the power, they're going to get the life back, The body gonna be back to normal like it was. They gonna go up into that cloud. And that's when it says, Revelation 14, I saw the Lamb upon Mount Zion with 144,000 with him. That's when that comes to pass. Because they're gonna come right back down and wage war with the world. That's gonna be the war of the worlds. You understand? That's how you break this thing down. Alright, so anybody Alright, so on that note, man, we're gonna give all praises to Yahweh.
Bahashem Yahweh Shai.
Shalom.
Shalom.